Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well still, and welcome back to tonight's second half. Before we get into tonight's upload, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. My merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe, click the like button, and please leave a comment. It really does help, and it matters. And now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with tonight's second half, shall we? All right, guys, so we've discussed soft disclosures and things like that here on the channel. And last night, after I was done recording, I started to watch a movie. And then I realized that when the credits were rolling in the beginning, that the person who created that movie had created another movie that really kind of people who enjoy Dogman encounters and stuff like that are very familiar with that movie called Dog Soldiers. Well, I believe that The Descent and Dog Soldiers, created by the same director, are a soft disclosure. And I also believe, well, I have a theory on what crawlers are, and I may be onto something here, so check it out. All right, guys, so last night I was done recording, and I was kind of bored, so I watched the movie Descent, and that movie then got me thinking about crawlers. Halfway through the movie, I hit pause and started to do some research. And I instantly came up with a couple of very good leads or whatnot that tell me that that was a soft disclosure. This upload is going to be pretty much two things. Are crawlers real, and can they be? And why I feel that it's a soft disclosure. So first, Descent in the movie Dog Soldiers was directed by a gentleman named Neil Marsh. Now, the movie came out in 2006, and they were called crawlers in that movie. They weren't called The Rake, which is a creepypasta. There is no historic stories or encounters with the Rake. It's straight up creepypasta. Neil Marsh stated that crawlers are cavemen that didn't leave their caves. They evolved in the environment over thousands of years. Poor vision, acute hearing, and smell, function well in the dark, and are expert climbers. Okay, well, what does that say? That is telling me that that's the modern day crawler that we have. The crawlers that we see in The Descent, I really honestly believe that movie is a soft disclosure. So then I got thinking about if crawlers, or could crawlers be real? And I believe they are. I believe Dogman exists. I believe Bigfoot exists. So I started to kind of look into some things. The movie Descent takes place in Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina. Guys, we are experiencing a ton of strange goings on in the Appalachian Mountains. Disappearances, sightings of crawler creatures that people are seeing today. And not today, but, well, who knows? Maybe someone saw one today. But in nowadays. It's very likely that these things could remain hidden from mankind for that long. And I state this because we are discovering new cave systems every year. There was a cave system discovered called Wells Gray Park Cave, aka the Sarlacc Pit, in British Columbia. And that was discovered in April of 2018. In the Glenwood Spring Cave System in Colorado, Glenwood Spring, Colorado, in 2020. So if we are just starting to discover new cave systems and kind of new or forgotten kind of proto-humans, then why is it so crazy to imagine that we could have overlooked these things or not even known about them? We're discovering, like, I think it was 86, yeah, according to scientists, 86% of living life has yet to be classified. So 86% of living organisms on this earth have yet to be classified. Granted, that is fungus, mold, whatever, but they are discovering new animals every year, and sometimes ones that they believe to be extinct. Just recently, in the Philippines, they discovered a small proto-human bipedal Homo lazanus, and they were like 4 feet tall, expert climbers. And if, let's say, one of these kind of forgotten species of human stayed in a cave, it could, and scientists believe that they could evolve. A human, if left in subterranean caves, could evolve. Loss of sight, or poor vision, super smell and hearing, and pigment in the skin color, it would be lost. So it is very possible that that's what these things are. Some sort of mutated, not even a mutant, like an evolved kind of human or proto-human that was just left to evolve in these caves without having any kind of contact with modern man. And to me, that is not far-fetched at all. Ironically enough, just a couple years ago, in the Appalachian cave systems, they found a cave-dwelling fish and cave-dwelling crustaceans that had poor vision but were expert hunters in their environment. Ironically enough, in the Appalachian Mountains. So it just goes to show that, I mean, yes, it's very possible that this is where they came from. Maybe they are not kind of some sort of government experiment like people want to say. Maybe they just kind of evolved from just thousands of years of being left alone. Now, then I started to think about the minimum viable population, or MVP, survival of species. So I started to look at little things like scientists state that if humans were to colonize Mars, some scientists say they would need 100 people. some say 14,000. Well, let's just split it down the middle and say 1,400. It would not be far-fetched to believe that 1,400 of these creatures live in cave systems underground, under these mountains, under these towns. It's not that far-fetched. And of course, there's going to be interbreeding, which would cause a lot of defects to these creatures, which would then have a different kind of look to some. Some may look this way, some may look that way, and that's why. Which I found very interesting. Now, here's another thing. Cave systems have fresh water, right? A lot of the majority of cave systems have fresh water. Boom, right there is a resource for them to take advantage of, and a something they need to live. Next would be food. All right, well, I was thinking about this, and if they live in these caves, in these cave systems, they can come out of these caves like in the movie Descent and hunt, right? But on 460 in Tazewell, Virginia, there is a cave system there and a lot of roadkill, deer, whatnot. And sometimes, like DJ had said, they're there 1 minute, gone the next, which may be the road crews, but these things could be scavengers as well as hunters. We know through experiences that have been told to us, Bigfoot and Dogman take advantage of things. They are scavengers, equal opportunists. So if there are all these kind of roadkill going on, they could just come out of these caves very quickly at night or in the day and pull one of these roadkill deers or roadkill whatnot, coyote, right out and bring them into their cave. Another interesting thing is that caves stay about 50 degrees year round. And that would be perfect living condition for a creature that has evolved thousands of years in these cave systems. So it's not that far-fetched to believe that these things are, instead of being some sort of government mutation or some sort of alien creature, or, and I say alien because alien to this earth, or extra dimensional, whatnot, it is not far-fetched to think that this is what happened. And they also, when people have had experiences with these crawlers, they talk about like a clicking and a chattering. Well, that is just like what bats do. And it's, I mean, like sonar, you know. Maybe that's how they communicate with each other, and they're able to, you know, judge distance. Maybe their eyesight is that bad, and let's say by this clicking and chattering, they're shooting this clicks and chatters all around, and they're judging distance. I don't know. This may be, you know, pretty crazy for some people to buy into, but I was sitting here and I was like, you know, this really makes a lot of sense to me. And then when I started to look into Neil Marshall, the director of Dog Soldiers and The Descent, that to me is two soft disclosures, not four, two soft disclosures, which really, I don't know. To me, you don't have to be an Einstein to see the truth right in front of you. Um, that's just my belief. I'm really honestly thinking that the movie The Descent, Dog Soldiers, were a soft disclosure saying, hey, these things exist. These things are out there, guys. Be careful. Of a little forewarning. Also, what's interesting is the movie came out in 2006, and they're calling them crawlers in this movie. They didn't call them like the girls didn't call them crawlers. Neil Marshall did, and I just found that very interesting. And that name has stuck with these kind of pale demons. But I really believe that the movies, Dog Soldiers, and The Descent are connected. They obviously are. They have the same director, but are connected as being a soft disclosure. And quite possibly they were some sort of proto-human that remained in these caves. Maybe an ice age, or maybe during like a meteor shower or something, some kind of catastrophe happened, all right, and drove these creatures underground, or human-like creatures underground, and they stayed in there and evolved or de-evolved, whichever you want to look at it as, and that's where the crawler came from. It's just a theory, but I mean, it makes sense to me after looking at things and thinking about it. Like The Descent, the movie, is in the Appalachians. Right now, we are having a lot of claims about these creatures being spotted in the Appalachians. And to me, there's just too much pointing and saying, yes, this is what it is, especially with like the missing people in Tazewell and Buchanan counties. It would make a lot of sense for a crawler to be responsible rather than a dogman. I'm not saying that that's how it is, but you've got bodies being found in these caves torn apart. And then one of the missing people was Timothy Honecker, was found in a culvert explored a year earlier. It just makes sense for me to really think this is what happened. Some sort of human-like creature. They're not humans, but whether that like Neanderthal, Denisovians, and other whatnot, some sort of small breed of whatever, or large breed or whatnot. And maybe that's why they're so skinny, because that's how they evolved. That's how they were down there. They could only eat periodically. Food wasn't readily available to them, but enough to where they didn't lose energy or strength. And that's how their evolution came to be and how they came to be. I don't know. I may be way off. I might be just, blowing smoke out in the world by saying this, but to me, it makes sense. And yeah, I just wanted to share a theory with you guys that I had came up with last night and today, and see what you guys thought. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's second half, and I hope it makes some sort of sense and that I'm just not some kind of babbling idiot. But I was just blown away when I realized that these two movies had the same director. And then I started to think about the caves and possibly what if scenarios. And I came up with this. So, all right. May the Great Spirit watch over us all. And may He guide us down that path that, well, we call life.